Howdy folks, I'm Mama B, and today I'm doing a project. This is a magnifying glass that Papa B got so that we could work on bees. You need to be able to see those little bee eggs, and with us getting a little bit older and things kind of break down a little bit, we need this to see those teeny tiny little eggs. So I decided that we were going to do this with yellow, like honey yellow. It's going to look great. What is this, you ask? This is a cover case for this magnifying glass so that we can have a place to protect it when it's not being used. So I'm going to make a little pocket to cover it, and so let's get started. Now I don't follow patterns, so we're just going to roll with this. And to start out, I got to figure out how long I want this to be. I have a couple of options. So let me just make a big old chain here, because at any rate, it's going to need a chain. Alright, now let's measure this. It could go this way. Which that would be long enough. So I think we'll just do that. You could also do it this way, but then it would be too long. So I'm just going to go with that. And I am actually going to crochet it in the round. So I do a slip stitch to connect it, and then I just do. One thing I did critical there, I did not check to make sure it was going to lay flat. It is really important to do that. So I pick the flat side and just make sure if you don't lose that loop, it's helpful. Make sure there's no twists in that crochet chain. And then when I come around, grab that stitch, slip stitch it. Okay. Now I'm just going to do another single row of single crochets all the way around. Alright, I thought we'd try a different angle, see if it helps you see this a little bit clearer. I just did a slip stitch into that first chain, and now I'm single crocheting all around. It's kind of a rainy day, a little bit cooler than usual, or at least cooler than the last few days. And so this is a great day to do this because I can cozy up in a blanket, and there's nothing better than crocheting in a cozy blanket and just relaxing, enjoying the day. Alright, this is just a single crochet. I worked my end in, there you can see that. It's all tucked in now. And since this is just a single crochet, I'm going to speed it up for us so we can get to the interesting part. Okay, I about got that single row done, coming to the last stitch or two, and I just want to double check that it's laying flat before I lock that down, because you could still kind of fudge it at this point if you want to. But it's nice and flat, so there we go. Alright, now I don't want to take all day doing this, so we're going to do double half crochets and see if we can get a little bit more height here. That'll give it a little bit more thickness as well for protection for that magnifying glass. Oh, also help us get through it just a little bit quicker. Speed this up. Alright, so this is my chain, my single row of crochets, and my single row of double half crochets. And you can see that's building it nice. Come to the end, going to do another slip stitch to end that off. And now I can change my stitch if I want to. One I was thinking about might be fun is to do the star stitch and then go back to the double half crochet. That would give a little border. I haven't entirely decided how I'm going to wrap this up, but I think what I'm going to do is have this chain side the bottom. So I'll whip stitch that together, and then there's enough room that it's fairly loose, not too tight, and I'll just work it up to the full length or height of this magnifying glass. So this will be done in no time. It won't take too long at all. And I've got to leave an open here wide enough that I can pull it out, or something that it's not too binding, not too tight. So maybe I'll just, I don't know, maybe I'll just work it up. Work it up to the top and put a strap up here. That could work, and then it's pretty easy. Alright, let's keep going on this. Okay, so I'm just working the star stitch. Kind of like how it's looking, so we're going to keep up that pattern. And if you don't know how to do a star stitch, I have a tutorial, and you are welcome to look at that. It's actually a pretty easy stitch to do. You start out by pulling up 6 loops and slip stitching them all together. So 2, 4, 5, and 6. Initially you chain and then pull up your 6 loops. Once you've got that much, slide that all through and do a slip stitch. This makes your eye, you go back into that eye, pull up 6 more, so there, and then the chain, that first loop, and there. Two, 4, 6, slide them off, slip stitch them together, and it makes kind of this pretty design. Now I like this design, and I'm not sure that I'm going to do the second half of the star stitch just because my project is so small. I kind of like that design, and I kind of think I might just leave it like that. But we'll see how we fare in the end. A lot of crocheting is inspiration, especially the way I crochet, so load up that needle with the 6 stitches and slip them off. I like how that looks. I might only do half the star stitch on this. Another thing that I didn't really think about, and you might want to factor while you're doing this, is that I've got to do this side. I've got to stitch these apart, so I should have done another row because that's not going to be wide enough, and then my star stitch is going to be right at the bottom. So maybe I'll make this the top and do it the other way, because that's an easy fix to that solution. But if you're just starting out and you want to make this a whip stitch to the bottom, just do an extra row or two to get that wide enough to cover the width of or the thickness of your magnifying glass. And you don't have to do the star stitch. You can do whatever design you want to decorate it up, or you can just do it all double half crochets or even all single crochets to get that all to get that thickness that you want. And just, I mean, there's really no rules, just have fun doing it, creating it, making it look good. Let your imagination take over. That's what we encourage here. Here at HandyDandyCrafts. Alright, let's just speed this up so we can get through this and you can see how it looks. Alright, just finishing up this last star stitch, and I'm going to go over to the chain, that first star stitch, and try and grab a couple of threads there. And then I'm just going to slip stitch it. Looks good. Okay, so now the rest of the star stitch you'll do another row, but I think I'm just going to leave it like that, and I'm going to go back to my double half crochets. And I'm just going to do this all the way around till I get my height that I want to cover that magnifying glass. See if this is looking how I want it to look. If it's not looking how I want, I'll go back and finish that star stitch. I kind of like it. It's simple and a really delicate change. The nice thing about this project is it's just scrap yarn. It's not anything, specific. I saw a color of some of my yarn, I thought I would use it. It's not going to take a whole lot to do this project. And when it's all said and done, Papa Bee's going to be very happy. And I'll get a little bit of bragging rights. That's pretty much it, folks. So I'm just going to keep on going. And you don't have to use it for a magnifying glass. You can use this same concept for a coin purse or to carry pretty much anything else that you want to put in it. It's basic and simple and open. It is flexible. You can do it for all kinds of different covers. And the only thing that would change is perhaps the length of your initial chain or the height of your rows for how many rows you need to cover whatever it is you're trying to cover. You could use it as a water bottle carrier if you put enough height into it. So just have fun with it. Let your imagination go. I'm sure you can think of things that I haven't thought of yet. Make it wide enough you could use it as a headband. That's another thing I need to make. Alright, let's speed this up. Alright, I just want to stop for a second here and show you what's going on. I've got 1, 2, 3 rows of double half crochet in between the bottom half of a star stitch, and then I go back into my double half crochet. And I really like how that's given it a little bit of character, a little bit of design, but it's really subtle. So we're going to keep going like this and that pattern. Alright, so we've got this wide enough now that it will cover this like I want it to. I'm going to just do a bottom on this, maybe just whip stitch it so that it's just a pouch. And then up at the top, I'm going to do a panel that's just along one side from about here to here, so I can fold it over and hook it right there, button it or something like that. And that will be a little carry case to protect the magnifying glass. This will be stitched down so it will hold it on that end, and then a little flap on this end. And Papa Bee's gonna love it. So let's get it finished up. For the panel, I'm going to show you, I'm coming to the end of my row of double half crochets. So I slip stitch it into the first chain, and then I'm going to chain up, chain 2, and then I'm just going to keep going with double half crochets. But when I get to the length that I want, I'm going to turn and go back. Now this is going to change the pattern just a little bit, but sometimes when it's one of those things where you got to manipulate it a little bit, it just makes it better. So I'm not too worried about the little bit of design change. But also the design change that I did with the half of the star stitch, I really like how that worked out. So it's going to look great. We'll just keep on going along here until it feels about right, and then we're going to measure it and see if it will do the trick. Alright, that looks like that's probably long enough, so let's fit it back in here. Yeah, I don't want it to go any further than that because that's hitting the handle. So maybe even take out a stitch or two. That looks more right, more like what I'm looking for. So now I'm going to, with my stitch marked where I want it to be, don't lose that, I'm going to chain 2, turn my work, and head back with a double half crochet in each stitch. And I'm going to do about 4 rows of this probably. We'll get it all in there nice and tight like I want it to fit. This is going to be pretty great, you guys. It's going to solve the problem that we have with keeping that magnifying glass clean in all the bee sticky goo and propolis and stuff that doesn't seem to want to come out. Chain 2 again and flip it again. Well, that doesn't even make too big of a difference in the design, so this is working out great. Just work my way back across. And when I get this the width that I want, I can work my way back, and honestly right about halfway I can chain to make my loop so that when I put a button on this side I can just pull that loop right down over the button and I don't even have to worry about a buttonhole or anything. So this is going to be great, you guys. I think one more row ought to do the trick. One more time. Okay, so now here I'm going to chain 2, 3. I'm going to skip 2, 3. Go back into my double crochets. There's my buttonhole. And I can just pick one of my mini buttons that I have in my little stash. Stitch that on. It's going to look fantastic. Alright, let's just check really fast again how it fits. Oh, gotta have that on the other side, because that's gotta go across. Slide around there, get where you belong. Just like that. Put a button right there, that flap will work. I'll pull that off, or tie that off, and do a whip stitch here on the bottom to tie that together. That's going to be perfect. Papa Bee's going to love this, and we'll be all set. Yep, that's going to be great. So I'm going to tie this up. I'll slap it down a few photos for you, and you can see the final product. This is going to be great. Thanks for watching our videos, folks, and have a fantastic day.